What's going on in Texas? This has been the topic of the news over the last, let's say, 12 hours, 24 hours, really hitting last night, which also involves new redistricting programs that are going on and gerrymandering, essentially, and how we feel about that. Again, we've talked about this. You can like it or you can not like it. It is, though, the way the game works right now in the world of politics. So we're going to break that down, Will, as there's been some sort of unprecedented moves coming from the left.
So in Texas, they're in the middle of a special legislative session. Texas has a very different way that they call their legislature in than many other states. And they're in this special legislative session where they're going over and they have votes on things such as relief for the floods that were happening and all of the horrific things that happen in Texas. But one of their items as well is a redrawing of the congressional maps, which is the job of the state legislature. And they are trying to redo this now. And the Democrats in Texas decided to pull a political stunt, and that is flee the state. So no business of the state legislature can move forward. They fled to places like Chicago and New York to get away, and so that they cannot be forced to go to the legislature to vote, which is their duty, what they swore an oath to do. They're outside of the law, and they are fleeing so that there cannot be a quorum, meaning there's not enough members of the legislative body there to vote, to hold a vote, to even be in session. And so what we're doing is we're looking here, and they have fled the state. Now you're seeing officials in Texas, as well as Senator Cornyn from Texas, sending a letter to the director of the FBI saying, Texas may need your help here.
People hear words like gerrymandering, doesn't sound like a good word. They hear words like redistricting. People don't care for those kind of things. However, as you can see in states, certain states like Illinois that you showed me the map of earlier, this has been part of the political game for a very long time.
That's right. And typically, states redistrict every 10 years, sometimes earlier. They can do it earlier. And that is what's happening here. This is 5 years in that Texas is redrawing their map. And it's up to the legislature to draw up the congressional districts and then vote on them within their own state. It's not done by the federal government. It's not controlled by the federal government. The states set their congressional delegation. The number of members of Congress is based off of census data and how large the population is, how many they can send to the House of Representatives. However, the way those districts are comprised is up to the state themselves. And so as Texas redistricts here, they have now seen resistance from the Democrat Party within their state, the state elected officials. And they have decided that instead of voting on things like aid for those that were hit by those devastating floods just a few weeks ago, or other issues that they had have to vote on, because it's not just the redistricting, that they will leave the state. So they are outside of the reaches of the Texas federal, the Texas State Police, the Texas Rangers, things of that nature, that they are now in other states. They're being protected in some places, like the governor of Illinois or the governor of New York are giving them places to stay in order to not have to return, because a civil warrant has already been issued to have the sergeant at arms of the House to bring them back. And why did they leave? Because if they don't have enough members present in the state house, they cannot have a quorum, so they can't do any of their official business. They can't move forward. They can't have votes. So they are trying to completely stall the process. They're obstructing the legislative session by leaving the state. Now, the stakes are getting higher. This isn't the first time Texas Democrats have done this, by the way, to try and block the state's business from moving forward. Some of the more popular members of the new Democrat Party in Congress, you think about that got their rise to fame because they left Texas at the time. Jasmine Crockett was one of those members that now is in the House of Representatives. So the stakes are now higher for this reason, Logan. The governor has put notice to the Supreme Court of Texas that he believes that the leader of the Democrats should be removed from office. He has vacated his seat by not performing his duties, by leaving the state to obstruct this. That individual member has by Friday to respond. The Attorney General of Texas is also taking moves. But we see Senator John Cornyn sending this letter to the director of the FBI saying, I encourage the Federal Bureau of Investigation to take any appropriate steps to aid in Texas state law enforcement efforts to locate or arrest potential lawbreakers who have fled the state. There are other things in here, as well as asking them to look at, are there potential violations of the law outside of the legislative issues? But if we have seen that people were offering them private planes, flights to get out of Texas. Some people are putting up money to help them stay or eat or live off of while they are out of the state. Is that considered taking a bribe by accepting a benefit to get out of town and not let something move forward?
It feels like it should be.
Right.
I mean, that seems like you're obstructing justice, you're obstructing things from going on. And if you're being paid to do it, it feels pretty bad. It feels very un-American and very not Texas.
But at the same time, Governor Gavin Newsom in California, all these Democrats are saying how bad this is. And by the way, Illinois, one of the states that they fled to, is one of the worst offenders when it comes to redistricting.
Can we show that?
Yeah, let's show the map of Illinois, of how their districts are run.
You may think that's a river that's running through the middle of Illinois, but no, that's just a random
the
district.
Two green districts was completely crafted to give another seat to a Democrat because of how conservative the southern part of Illinois is. Mm-hmm. There's third-party groups that try to rate the congressional districts, and Illinois is one of the worst offenders, and that's where they're harboring these people to stop them from voting on a plan by their state legislature.
Ever spent any time in southern Illinois? It's more southern than almost the deep south. There are times you walk through and you're like, how am I in Illinois?
Right.
It's so bizarre, but it is cool. It's a good place.
But then you also see what now Gavin Newsom is saying he may do.
Gavin does, what he feels like, man.
Some lawmakers are saying this is as bad as the Holocaust and then apologizing for it.
He's Harvey Dent.
He's saying, well, if Texas does it, I'm going to redistrict California right now to give us more congressional seats to match that. So it's the worst thing you can do. It's anti-democratic, but if they do it, we're going to do it too. The hypocrisy is so rich throughout this entire story. And I hope that they are able to get back and vote on things that they need to vote on. Historically, these political stunts do nothing to actually stop the legislation. What they end up doing is boosting the profile of some of the members who decided to talk loudly to the press while they had a spotlight on them, because you don't hear about state lawmakers out of any state, really, typically, unless you live there. And that's all this is. It's a political stunt. But they are actually causing real harm to the people of Texas by absconding their duties and fleeing the state